When she walks away, she thinks she's taking your heart with her. She imagines your nights will be sleepless, your thoughts consumed by her absence. And in the quiet moments, she pictures you scrolling through old photos, wondering how to win her back. But here's the truth she's not prepared for. Heartbreak doesn't have to destroy you. It can refine you. It can turn you into someone she no longer recognizes, not because you've become bitter, but because you've become untouchable. The fastest way to break her ego isn't with rage or clever comebacks or trying to make her jealous. It's with composure. It's with the discipline to do something most men can't, to disappear from her emotional landscape without leaving a trail. And that's where the paradox lies, because the moment you stop trying to make her see your value is the very moment she starts to question whether she ever truly understood it. Jordan Peterson often says that in order to become strong, you must be willing to bear responsibility for yourself. In heartbreak, that responsibility means refusing to make your healing dependent on the person who caused your pain. When you stop chasing closure, you stop handing her the pen to write your ending. And when you take the pen back, something remarkable happens. You stop trying to prove her wrong and you start proving yourself right. And that shift is what makes her ego crack. 1. The first blow, what she expects versus what she gets. Let's be honest, heartbreak hits like a freight train. You didn't plan for this. You didn't see the exit signs. And when it happens, your instinct is to fix it, to talk it out, to make her understand how much she's hurt you. This reaction isn't weakness, it's biology. The human brain is wired to seek connection when it feels threatened, and heartbreak is one of the deepest threats to our sense of identity. The mind scrambles to restore what it thinks it's lost. But here's the problem. She knows this. Maybe not consciously, but she's felt it before. She expects the messages, the "I just want to talk" texts, the long paragraphs explaining your side of the story. And on some level, this reaction reassures her. Because as long as you're trying to convince her, she still matters in your world. Even if she's the one who left, she still holds emotional leverage. That's why your first act of self-respect is to do the one thing she's not expecting. Nothing. No messages, no calls, no dramatic speeches about how she's wrong. Because the moment you stop performing for her ego, you start starving it. Think of it like this. If someone takes the oxygen out of a room, the fire dies. When you remove your emotional oxygen, your attention, your words, your validation, the fire of her ego begins to shrink. This doesn't mean you're playing games. It means you're refusing to fuel a dynamic that only benefits her. And the silence you choose isn't passive, it's deliberate. It's a statement without saying a word. When you don't react the way she predicted, she's left with herself, with her own thoughts. And without your energy to feed on, those thoughts turn inward. She's forced to sit with the question she didn't expect to ask. Why isn't he fighting for me? And that single question is the first fracture in the mirror she's built of herself. 2. The mirror of silence. Why distance speaks louder than words. Silence is not emptiness. It's not absence. It's a mirror. And in that mirror, she is confronted with herself in ways she didn't anticipate. When you disappear, she doesn't just notice your absence. She notices the space you used to fill, the good mornings, the little check-ins, the presence that was once constant, now replaced by a void. In the beginning, she might tell herself she's fine. She might even convince her friends she's better off, but the ego isn't sustained by logic. It's sustained by validation. And the longer you remain silent, the more her mind begins to wander. Did he find someone else? Is he happier without me? Was I not as important as I thought? Here's the psychological truth. The human brain hates unanswered questions. When the story is incomplete, the mind tries to fill the gaps. And without your updates, without your reactions, she is left to write her own conclusions. That's when the silence becomes louder than any speech you could give. Jordan Peterson often emphasizes the importance of voluntarily facing discomfort to grow stronger. Silence is your chosen discomfort. It's the refusal to give in to the immediate relief of contact in exchange for the long-term reward of self-respect. By holding your ground, you're sending an unspoken message. I am not defined by your approval. I am not sustained by your attention. And that realization doesn't just break her ego, it builds yours. 3. The shift from revenge to rebuilding. At first, you might think your silence is about teaching her a lesson, that breaking her ego is a form of revenge. But over time, you realize something far more important. This isn't about her anymore. Revenge keeps you tethered to the person who hurt you. It makes your healing dependent on their reaction. And that's still giving them power. The real shift happens when you understand that breaking her ego is a side effect, not the goal. The goal is rebuilding yourself into someone you respect. That means redirecting all the energy you would have spent on her into you, your health, your work, your friendships, your purpose. Because when you live a life that is rich and fulfilling, her ego doesn't just crack, it shatters. Not because you flaunted your success in her face, but because you achieved it without her even being part of the picture. 4. The law of indifference. Why it hurts the most indifference is misunderstood. It's not hatred. It's not pretending you don't care. It's genuinely moving on to the point where her existence no longer dictates your emotional state. When you reach indifference, she no longer has a hook in you, and that is devastating to someone whose ego thrived on your attention. It's the emotional equivalent of turning the page in a book you once couldn't put down and realizing the story no longer interests you. Jordan Peterson often talks about order and chaos. Indifference is the order you bring after the chaos she created. It's stability after the storm. And that stability is something her ego can't control, which is exactly why it breaks. 5. The unexpected return when she feels the void. In many cases, when the silence stretches long enough, she will reach out, maybe subtly at first, a like on your post, a casual message, or maybe directly asking how you've been. This isn't always about love. Sometimes it's about ego maintenance. She wants to see if she still matters. But by the time this happens, you'll have a choice: engage or keep walking. And the power in that choice is something you didn't have before. You're no longer reacting out of pain. You're responding, or not responding, out of self-respect. 6. The final lesson: breaking her ego without breaking yourself. The point isn't to become cold or closed off. The point is to become immune to manipulation, to build a foundation so strong that no one's opinion, not even hers, can shake it. Breaking her ego is simply the natural outcome of refusing to let her define your worth. In Peterson's terms, it's standing up straight with your shoulders back, not just physically, but emotionally. It's embodying the posture of someone who takes responsibility for his own life, his own healing, his own value, and once you've done that, you realize something liberating. You don't need her ego to break for you to be free, but if it does, it will happen quietly, inevitably, as a byproduct of the man you've become. When she breaks your heart, don't break yourself trying to fix it. Break the chain of dependence. Break the habit of chasing validation. Break the belief that you need her to feel whole. And in doing so, you won't just break her ego. You'll build a life so solid, no one can take it from you again.